A few months ago, RBI had approved more than, I think, 8,000 crores as dividends to the central government. So how dividend is paid to the central government and why the dividend is paid to the central government?
Sociology is a commonsensical subject.
Crisis going on in the Middle East or West Asia, as we refer to that region. And what crisis is there?
How RBI issues a currency note?
If you become a bureaucrat, tell me what are the steps that you are going to take to tackle the issues related to caste in our society.
Yes, come in.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Please be seated. Please give a brief introduction about yourself.
Yes, sir. So my name is Twinkle Dahiya and I have done my graduation in physics honours from Hindu College, Delhi University. And after that, I have taken a job as a grade B officer in Reserve Bank of India and I'm working there since 2 years. And I'm also a UPSC aspirant.
Where are you posted, Twinkle, right now?
Sir, in Jaipur.
You are working in Jaipur, working in the RBI. Okay. I think a few months ago, RBI had approved more than, I think, 8,000 crores as dividends to the central government. So how dividend is paid to the central government and why the dividend is paid to the central government?
Yes, sir. So as per the RBI Act, the government is the shareholder of RBI. So RBI has whatever operations RBI performs, so any profit which it earns, so after taking care of the expenses and payment to the reserves, the surplus amount which is left is paid to the government, since government is a shareholder of RBI, so in that sense it gets the
How the surplus amount is determined by the RBI?
Yes, sir.
How it is determined?
Sir, after the profits and after fulfilling the reserve requirements like payment to the general reserve or any other reserve, so the amount which is left after that is...
Okay, solid, okay. What is bank recapitalization?
So bank recapitalization is when the government puts in capital into the banks to improve their financial position.
Why it is required?
So because banks need to have a sufficient amount of capital, first of all, to ensure that depositors' interests are served and depositor confidence is maintained, and in any case of in any instance wherein there is a risk of bank failure, the bank can rely on that capital to pay the dues to the depositor.
What is the correlation between the NPA and bank recapitalization?
So
anyway, let's leave it there. You must have heard about the hedging of foreign exchange risk.
Yes.
So what is this concept? Hedging?
Sir, by hedging, we are ensuring ourselves against the risk which arises due to changes in the exchange rates.
Okay, what is the benefit of it? Why should one go for a hedging of funds?
So because exchange rates depend on a lot of factors which are not under our control. For example, any geopolitical conflict or something which is there, so that has an effect on the interest rate, which in turn affects our the cost of our imports or the situation of exports and all. And since India is dependent on imports like petroleum for its energy security, so it becomes all the more important that we are secure against those risks.
Okay, you are a student of physics, isn't it?
Yes,
and opted for sociology as your optional subject for the UPSC. Why a student of physics should opt for a subject like sociology?
So because I am interested in sociology subject and I could not get a chance to study it in school because we only had the option, we did not have the option of choosing a humanities subject along with PCM. So that's why I felt that right now is the chance wherein I can study that. I have interest in that subject and I also believe that it was manageable along with job, because I really love physics, but it gets a little difficult to manage physics optional with job. So sociology had both the benefits. It could be managed easily and I was also interested.
What do you mean by patriarchy?
So patriarchy is an institution wherein the institutions and the processes of society are such that men dominate and oppress women.
Do you think everything is bad in patriarchy, or there is silver lining also in the patriarchy?
Sir, inherently patriarchy is, I do not support patriarchy inherently, but certain factors because we as women, since the current social reality is such that we have to live with it, so certain things are, like we call it patriarchal bargains. So if I may give an example, like I had this privilege that my father used to drop me to the metro station for entire 3 years of college, which I had. But my brother used to go in an auto or cab from the very first day. So these are certain things. But if we look at the core concept, the very reason that he has to drop me is because it's not considered safe for women to go out at night or at odd hours.
Okay, what do you mean by feminism?
So feminism is belief in equal rights for men and women.
Are you a feminist?
Yes, sir.
Or you prove it to us that you are a feminist?
Sir, I'm a feminist because I believe that men and women should have equal rights when it comes to work opportunities, or even when it comes to the expectations which society has. So I believe that so since I'm a working person, and till now in my family no woman has worked. So I believe that in my capacity I have taken the first step to promote equality.
One final question before I pass it to my colleague. What are the problems a lady officer generally faces at the workplace?
Yes, sir. So the first problem which I believe is that women they have to put in extra efforts to be treated at par, and even when they are putting in extra efforts, people still have this thing in mind that she is getting favored just because she is a female officer. So sir, that bias is always there that inherently we have something deficient in us, and it's just because we are female we are getting the advantage. And so another thing is that due to societal expectations, if a woman is career oriented or is performing well in office, then there's always this belief that she might not be a good mother. Like I am not a mother, so I've not had any personal experience, but this is what I have seen, that some very good female employees are there, but behind their back people are like, she does not take care of her daughter.
Okay, thank you very much.
Twinkle?
Yes, ma'am.
While in conversation with sir, you mentioned that sociology as a subject is easier for you to manage with your work, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But on contrary, physics may not be. So can I take it, through your conversation that sociology is a commonsensical subject?
Ma'am, not exactly commonsensical, as in the things which we study, they have an overlap with our common sense knowledge. So sociology is not commonsensical per se, but the things which we study, we are already familiar with that. So things like patriarchy or feminism, or even if we talk about caste, it's not that we are completely blank about these things or we do not know anything. Everyone has some basic knowledge. But studying sociology as a subject has broadened my perspective. So earlier I used to just think from maybe one or two perspectives, but sociology gave me a variety of perspectives on those same things.
Okay. So, another question related to this only. Commonsensical understanding and everyday realities, are they both same or they are different?
Ma'am, they may be different because everyone's common sense is based on that particular person or his perception of reality. So it might not actually, for example, if I may explain it through an example, like I believe that patriarchy is an everyday reality in the current scenario, but my common sense might be different from somebody else's common sense. Someone might feel that it's very commonsensical because women are the weaker sex, so it's but natural that they are performing household chores and they're not able to work outside. So commonsensical knowledge is...
The recent controversy going around the period leave, right? So what is the latent and manifest function of this? Are you in favor of period leave? You are a manager there, right? Mm-hmm. So what is your take on it?
Ma'am, I am in favor of period leave because I believe that it will,
But we talk about equality. So will it bring equality in the society?
Yes, ma'am, because it would provide a level playing field. Like equality is not just about giving similar circumstances to every person. It's about dealing with different situations differently. So period leave, it's a reality for women and it's very painful and discomforting for some. So just like on the similar concept that we have maternity leave or hardship leave for females, so I think on similar lines, menstrual leave is also justified because it accepts the fact that this is a reality of.
Give me one latent and manifest function of this kind of controversy.
Yes, ma'am. Of latent and manifest function of period.
This kind of, yes.
Okay. So, the manifest function is that a woman who is in pain or who is in discomfort gets the chance to rest and recover that time. And latent function is that it sends a message that we are caring about the other half of the population, because mostly workplaces are just designed keeping the male prototype in mind and just.
Okay, fine, good. See, the periodic labor surveys, periodic labor force surveys, and the recent one also, it is found that the graduate people are found to be more unemployed, right? The number has increased as compared to other developing countries. And on the other hand, if I take women as a category, so women, the graduate women are more, employability is also more, but their participation in the labor market is less. So what do you understand by this? Where is the problem lying?
Ma'am, I think that graduate women, mostly if they are, there is this perception in society that if you are from a well-to-do family, then women are discouraged to work because it is seen in a negative light. And considering the current scenario in job markets, the graduate employment rate is lower because the graduates are not getting the jobs which they expect because of their educational qualifications. So especially for women in such a scenario, the family as well as themselves, they are sort of discouraged by this because they do not want to, they do not want the daughters or their daughter-in-laws to work for a job which is below their.
So you mean to say that the skill appropriate jobs are not available in the market?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Twinkle, what is Operation Ajay?
Operation?
Ajay.
Sir, I am not aware.
You are not aware, okay. So there's a crisis going on in the Middle East or West Asia, as we refer to that region. And what crisis is there?
Sir, it's there was an attack on October 7th by Hamas on Israel, and then the retaliatory bombings of Israel on Gaza and the.
So, does two wrongs make a right?
No, sir.
So then what should be Indian government's stand on the disproportionate retaliation by Israel?
Sir, in such scenarios, the stand of Indian government is driven primarily by national interest. So, keeping in mind our relations with Israel and the importance of those collaborations, India is not directly criticizing it, but definitely India has maintained a stand that there should be a humanitarian ceasefire on this, and the hostilities should stop.
So, the US and other Western countries, they have been demanding not ceasefire, but humanitarian pauses.
Yes, sir.
What are humanitarian pauses?
So, I am not very sure, but I think they are that whatever supplies are required for like food supplies or basic basic requirements, they are not stopped or.
Okay. Now, you are working in RBI. So, these days what we often see is that the Indian government is trying to have the international trade payments in local currency, right? So, why Indian government is interested in this?
So, this is to internationalize rupee in line with what countries globally are doing, so that we do not have to depend on hard currency, which is dollar currently.
Okay. So, internationalization of rupee, do you think it is a reasonable expectation, or it is like highly optimistic on our part?
No, so I believe that it is reasonable, and India is taking a lot of steps in that direction, like the rupee ruble payment system with Russia, though it is facing certain issues, but that's the step. And we are moving towards increased capital account convertibility also. And RBI is also encouraging overseas market rupee derivative instruments.
Okay. In this context only, we often hear about Vostro and Nostro accounts. Can you explain like what are these accounts?
Sir, I am not recalling exactly, but they are accounts like an Indian bank has with the foreign bank an account, so that it can be used to settle payments in a foreign country.
Okay. What are the reasons or the real reasons for the economic crisis that is being faced by Sri Lanka? Any 2, 3, 4 reasons?
So I think the debt is the primary reason, and Unemployment, I guess.
Okay, you can
I'm
look
not
it up.
very sure.
Why do bankers don't like haircuts?
So because it decreases the amount which a person is able to recover from a non-performing asset. So it is bad for the banking industry.
Okay, my final question to you, what do you understand by constitutional silence, and can you give me an example where we see it in play?
So constitutional silence is when some provision of the constitution which does not provide a particular timeline to act on certain thing, that is being used to not take an action. For example, governors of various state governments are sitting on the bills for a very long time and they're not taking action on those. So
which is that article?
Sir, I can't recall the article.
Okay, thank you.
Twinkle, you are a physics graduate from Hindu College. 9.4 is your CGPA. You have got a scholarship through Inspire, right? Now you are in RBI, your optional is sociology, you want to work with administration. So is this not very random? Do you think there is any connecting dot between these 4-5 random things?
Yes, sir. The connecting dot initially was my aspirations to become an IAS officer. So that was something which was constant throughout since college and through RBI and right now. And other than that, sir, I was since childhood I was interested in science and mathematics. So that was the reason I chose science stream. But it was later on when I explored my interests in other areas. So the field of economics and even sociology, they also interested me. So I felt that it would not be right to just bound myself to the field which I had initially chosen and explore my other interests as well.
Right. One of your interests are in French, right? As a foreign language. In civil services, the French can be useful if you opt for foreign services, right? But your preference for foreign services is quite below. It is even below than revenue services.
Yes, sir.
So, how your knowledge of French is going to help the administration in general?
Yes, sir. So, in particular, I feel that since we are now moving towards para-diplomacy also, so in those circumstances, my knowledge of French may be helpful. But sir, I also believe that if not directly, because we believe that English, if we know English, then we can pretty much manage with any global interaction. But I believe that indirectly also learning French would help me a lot because it has provided me with the skills associated with language learning, and I also believe that I'll be able to pick up any other language also faster. So if I am posted in a cadre which is not in my home state, for example South or Northeast, so I think I would be able to pick up that language. And learning French has also taught me that if we learn a language, we also start to respect that culture even more.
Fine.
That thing would, I think, would help.
You are a banker, moreover a central banker, right? Bankers are known for their long working hours. Recently, there was a statement by Narayan Murthy, one of the respected figures of industry, that youths should be ready to work for at least 70 hours a week. What is your take on that?
Yes, sir. Sir, since that statement has also received a lot of backlash, the way I see it is that he does not mean that workers should be forced to work 70 hours a week. I believe that what he means is that the youth should be willing to work 70 hours. So we need to have that motivation, and we need to have that job for which we have that motivation. So it should be an intrinsic thing that I am very passionate about the work I do and I am ready to put in 70 hours so that it does not even feel like work to me.
Fine. You are with RBI. One of the primary job of RBI is as issuer of currency notes, right? How RBI issues a currency note? Is there any legal provision? Is there any, kind of backup through which RBI can print notes?
So as per section 22 of the RBI Act, RBI is empowered and is the sole authority to issue the currency notes. And the notes are backed up by certain assets which are not, like we have a limited reserve system for this. So it's not that every amount of currency is backed by an equivalent amount of assets, but we do have certain percentage.
Right. And why RBI is not printing rupee 1 currency note?
So because it's done by the government.
So why just one currency note was left to government? and every other notes are being printed by RBI?
So I think it is to show that the prime authority in the country regarding managing the ultimate authority lies with the government.
Right. My last question to you is, what is open market operations in context of RBI, and how this is going to help in containing inflation?
So open market operations are used by RBI for liquidity management, wherein it sells or buys government bonds in the market so as to control the bond yields and the inflation. So sir, if RBI engages in if it sells bonds in the market, so by selling bonds, it would suck out liquidity from the system.
Right.
So the amount of currency, the liquidity which is there in circulation would decrease. So the aggregate, that would have an impact that the aggregate demand would be decreased. So the inflation would be lowered. On the other hand, if RBI buys bonds in the market, it would have to push liquidity into the market, which would lead to increasing inflation.
Thank you.
Twinkle, you have studied sociology and you like watching movies. According to you, what are the top 3 issues which have not yet found representation through movies?
Sir, I believe that caste, though it has found some representation, but not to that level which we might expect. And so the issue of power.
Power with regards to political power?
No, sir, power as in the power dynamics in general, and also political power also as an but more sociological aspects of it.
Okay.
And so third one, I think.
Okay. If you become a bureaucrat, tell me what are the steps that you are going to take to tackle the issues related to caste in our society?
Sir, as a bureaucrat, I would first ensure that that untouchability, both in its latent and manifest forms, is eradicated, because it's part of Article 17 also. And so next, I would ensure that all the benefits of affirmative action they reach to the bottom, and they reach every person who deserves it. For example, we do have reservations for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, but a very small percentage of the castes are actually benefiting from it, and the other ones are not able to reap the benefits since they do not get the primary education or the primary health facilities. So the person is not even equipped to reach to that level of college admissions or job prospects wherein those rules would be applicable. So I think I would work on these areas.
Okay. Have you watched the 12th Fail movie?
Sir, I watched it half on OTT.
Okay. Based on the part till you have watched, can you tell us what is the central theme of this movie?
Yes, sir. So the central theme is that the protagonist of the movie was someone who used to, he was in a school where cheating was very prevalent, and they used to cheat and pass in the exams. And after that, he met an IPS officer, and he was really motivated by his honesty and integrity, and then he decided to pursue this examination. So it shows the struggles of that person coming from a weaker background and how he conquers those.
Okay. Since this movie tackles a very important social aspect, do you think such movies can have a big future in the Indian cinema, where stardom is often related to success?
Yes, sir. So I do believe that they have a lot of scope, because people are giving really positive views about this movie. And if such movies, so I think even producers or directors should take a step, because if more such movies are produced, then audience would be able to see it and then appreciate it, and the market for such movies would also increase.
Okay.
So I think the initial amount of risk perception which is there among the directors and producers, that has to be overcome somewhere.
Okay. Moving further with our discussion, India is on its path to become the economic superpower of the world. At this point of time, which model do you think is best for India, capitalism or socialism?
Sir, I believe, sir, as per our preamble, we do have socialistic principles in our working, but I believe that the mixed economy model which India has so far followed is working well, and with certain difficulties, of course, and I think this is the model which India should continue following, because we cannot neglect the positives of both of them and the negatives of both of them. So the section of underprivileged people in India is huge. So we cannot leave everything to the private sector, and government intervention in certain basic goods or services is extremely necessary.
My final question in this series only. What are the top 3 challenges that you think India will face on its path to become the manufacturing hub of the world?
So, first one is, I think, this skill mismatch which is in the market, and secondly, sir, I think the global scenario which is there, like decrease in global demand, so it hampers the exports somehow, and then which impacts the manufacturing industry also. And the third one, I think, is, so for a lot of starting inputs, India depends on imports. So I think that would also be an issue.
Okay, thank you, Twinkle.
What do you mean by Generation Z?
Yes, so this refers to the generation of people who are born after 1995.
96. So you belong to Generation Z.
Yes, sir.
You tell me how your generation is different from that of your mother?
Sir, in my generation, so we have had an exposure to a lot of things which my mother's generation did not have. For example, increasing prevalence of technology, so mobile phones and social media and everything is there. And our generation is also, since our previous generation has accumulated certain amount of economic or social capital, so we are on a better footing as compared to their generation. And also, I think from equality perspective also, this generation is better than.
Now, what are 2 important challenges which this generation is facing,
So
which your mother generation had not faced?
Yes, sir. So social media, definitely, sir. Social media and its distracting impact. And sir, then sir, I think though we are getting more opportunities to work and to be at par with men, I think it also comes with its downsides that we are expected to manage both work and house.
One last question. You have studied sociology also, and you must have seen in the society. Why is that female contraceptions are more prevalent in India than male contraceptions?
Yes, sir. So it's because of the feeling of masculinity and the ideas of masculinity that men are not willing to go for such contraceptions, and women are in most households, women are in a weaker position, and the male members or even other female members also, they are able to impose their will on the women that they need to go for contraception.
Okay, thank you very much, Twinkle. It was nice interacting with you. Your interview is over. You may go now.
Thank you, sir.
Come. Sit down, Twinkle. Your interview is on 8th February.
Yes, sir.
Okay, a lot of time is there. And which attempt is this for you?
So second attempt, first means
First interview. Okay. So how was your experience with us today? Would you assess your performance quickly?
Sir, I think it was lagging on certain parameters. Like I was not very aware about much things about RBI because that's a big gap I feel, and I need to prepare that.
Let me tell you at the very outset that Twinkle, you are an excellent candidate for the civil services. You have a gift of the gab, your communication skill is excellent. You stayed honest throughout the interview session. So this is the test of a personality, not a question answer session, isn't it? The personality, there are various aspects of personality, various facets of personality which are seen and examined by the board while talking to you and asking you questions. And the first and foremost is your personal integrity and integrity of purpose. How it gets reflected? Only the way you answer. Whether you are answering based on informed knowledge, or you are speaking through your hat, isn't it? So make sure that if you don't know a subject, doesn't matter. Candidly admit that I don't know, sir. But wherever you know, try to give a very logical answer, crisp answer, focused answer, isn't it? Try to understand intent of the question asked. Okay, the intent is very important, and then collect your thoughts, collect your ideas for a while, and then come out with very brief and pointed answers to the question which has been asked. That is important. Then third thing is that you are not, but you need not be questioning the wisdom of board members. So, sir, I don't agree with you, and that kind of a thing. Even if you feel on certain things, it didn't happen today, on certain things, if you don't like some opinion expressed by the board members, and just stay smiling, isn't it?
Okay.
And then if your opinion is sought, they said, in my limited knowledge, this is what I think. So, without confronting that board member, you are able to drive home your point of view. Okay, that is there. Then wherever in question is asked to you, asking for some improvement in the system, some improvement in the processes and all that, they try to show that you can think in an innovative way, out of the box solution as we call it. So wherever it is possible for you, try to give some out of box solutions, because that is very much required of expected of a prospective civil servant. Coming to today's this thing, RBI have used a lot of questions will be asked regarding the role of RBI. So we prepare RBI comprehensively, because we try to ask you a few questions. There is no dearth of questions as far as the RBI is concerned. Nostro and Vostro accounts, we thought probably you will find it very convenient to explain what is a Nostro account and what is a Vostro account. Just go back and just prepare a note on that also. And then the role of UPI, CBDC,
Yes, sir.
why do you think that Indian rupee is going to be an international currency in the near future? You have to give a logic for that, yes or no. So, and you have to give arguments also for that. Why don't you think that is going to replace dollar and all in the near future? So that kind of a thing. And then CBDC, why CBDC is there and all that. Then role of the RBI in various, like recently 2-3 such things come to our mind. Old pension scheme, I think RBI has some views on that.
Yes,
so it has asked the state governments to stick to the old pension scheme. Why should we stick to the old pension scheme? If you switch back to the old pension scheme, then what are the problems the government is going to face? Okay. Then demonetization, there has been a Supreme Court judgment also. There is one out of it was 4.1 or 3/1. The majority judgment was in favor of the governmentization. There was a minority verdict also given by one of the honorable lady judges of the Supreme Court. So she had given her own reasons for that. So you should be aware of what logic she explained while disagreeing with the government's decision. So that you should be aware. Then sociology, we have not asked you too many questions on sociological thinkers like M.N. Srinivasa's theory of Sanskritization. Do you think it is happening in the present India or not? And then Ghurye's, A.R. Desai's, Yogendra Singh, so many Indian sociological thinkers are there. Their concepts and all that. So that is very important, concept of westernization, ordinization and all that. Then a question was asked, why RBI is not controlling 1 rupee note. So you should be go back and check it, because RBI was initially a private entity. It got government took over at a much later date. Even before that, 1 rupee note was in circulation, and that time there was value of 1 rupee note. So government didn't want this job to be done by the RBI. Just have a look at that. Somebody may ask you. You have a lot of time. You see, Sri Lanka crisis, I think your answer was not very focused, very apt. Constitutional silence, you explained constitutional silence. Corresponding article you didn't know. If you know it is good. If you don't know it, then admit that I don't know it. Okay. Vostro Nostro I have told you only. You are posted at Jaipur. You have stayed in Delhi, isn't it?
And I'm from Haryana.
And you are from Haryana. So all these issues, particularly women-centric issues related to Haryana, to Delhi and to Jaipur, may be asked. And you are a student of sociology also. So all those schemes initiated by the government of India and the state governments, and then if Delhi, somebody may ask you the issue of issues of differences between the state government and the central government, and there is a Supreme Court judgment also on that. What does that judgment say on that issue? So voice model, you are a very natural speaker. It's very normal, natural, and your flow is, it never stops. Once you start speaking, it's good. It's good, nothing wrong in that. But if at all, if you are able to take a pause in between, that will add to your performance. Yes. So taking a pause, because it comes naturally to your mind, and whatever ideas come to your mind, you flawlessly try to explain those ideas, and those words flow very naturally from you. But try to maintain some voice modulation and pause. So these two things, if you are able to work on that, it will improve your performance, and you are a very potential candidate, I am telling you. Extremely potential candidate, and you will be getting very good marks in the interview. If you have really done well in your mains examination, you should be in the list of successful candidates and at a higher position. Do you have any specific question to ask?
Yes, sir, I have questions. Was there too much repetition when I was explaining the answers?
Because you speak, I told you, you speak without stopping. So what happens, before we appreciate one thing, the second thing comes, then third thing comes. So we are not able to grasp the whole argument. So if I will not ask you to slow down, because I don't want you to kill your natural instinct. While maintaining your natural instinct, if you speak in a way that one sentence, two sentences is number one, make sure that no long sentences. And then small pause, just a second, 1 second, 2 seconds pause, and then second. Then by that time, 1 or 2 seconds, at least the people sitting this side are able to at least grasp your the points or the arguments you are trying to make. Otherwise, nothing serious. These are very small issues. You have to work on that.
And so, was my posture and hand movement?
The hand movement, initially it was okay, but gradually when you started explaining, then involuntarily it happened.
So, sir, should that be avoided? Or?
Work on that. It's
so,
better.
How do we have to keep our hands?
Just keep on your thigh. Yeah, it's like that. And just keep it, let the mind work for 30 minutes and let the hands rest for 30 minutes, isn't it? So that is important. Then you are in the RBI, people may ask you, is such a group, you are in group B, you said, no?
Grade B.
Grade B.
Yes.
So grade B is supposed to be the best in the RBI. You are must be getting a very handsome salary and a perk and all that. Why do you want to leave all that to join the civil services? That kind of question may come. So what is there in the civil services which you don't find in the RBI? You don't have job satisfaction there. You don't have variety of work there. So what is that we are looking for in the civil services?
So I have one doubt in this. So because I want to switch, so it's kind of obvious that I am not satisfied here. So how do I show it so that it does not look
by any standards and all standards? You are not supposed to be saying you are not happy, you are not satisfied. It is a thrilling job, sir. It is giving a lot of satisfaction and lot new areas I am trying to learn, sir. But all said and done, my passion is to join the civil services and serve the society through the civil services. Don't get into that, sir, I am not liking this job. That will be a negative connotation of your personality. Whatever is offered to you, you don't feel happy. So this girl is never happy. Okay, but don't have that kind of an attitude.
Okay. And sir, was eye contact okay while?
Okay, it was okay.
And sir, do I sound informal while speaking?
At times there is a informal smile or I'm not getting the appropriate word. There are some girls who laugh when they don't know something. So that appearance is evident on your face, isn't it? So it's very difficult to tell you, but if you are able to curb that, that's better.
Do not smile when I don't know.
When you don't know. You do not smile, because the smile says that I don't know. So that should not be there. Okay, instead of a smile, you say, admit that I don't know.
And sir, how do we have to wish the entire board while entering? So
the way you have wished, You enter, the moment you are just fumbling. I couldn't, when you sought permission from the board, good morning, you greeted, it didn't reach RES. So be energetic and happy looking girl and greet with a positive body language and a smile on face. Good morning, sirs, madam, whosoever is there, good morning. And then wait for the chair to ask you to sit down. Then you should thank the chair and the conversation starts. It's a very cordial conversation. You won't have any problems. Just keep your head on your shoulder. So everything will be fine. Okay. And you are going to wear this sari only?
No, sir. Sir, I have another one, plain sari with some border.
Whatever it is, so at times, if you are, so some people may have the tendency of asking about the sari, which sari are you wearing, what is that sari, what is the importance, and then compare 2, 3, 4 saris. Because you are a female candidate, some questions may be there. It's just a remote possibility, but I'm not ruling out that also.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Chalo, all the best then. And do well. Have confidence in yourself.
Sir, आपको अगर marks देने होंगे तो आप कितने दोगे?
Good marks. I told you na. You will, if you have really done well in the mains examination, you should be in the top 100 also. Okay. अब इससे ज़्यादा marks मत मांगो हमसे. Okay. All the best.
Thank you.